All right, welcome back. Today we're going to be working on with Watsyn and the triple oscillator, and we're going to actually um, apply what we're going to learn in Watsyn on a project, and we're going to kind of make an 808 today, which we've done before in the triple oscillator, but now we're going to do it using Watsyn as well. All right, let's create. I don't need this automation track. Remove beat and baseline. Don't need this. I do need my triple oscillator. Come up here to the top left-hand side to your instrument plugins. Open that up. Come down here to Watsyn. We'll drag and drop Watsyn in here and our song editor. Open up our triple oscillator. Open up Watsyn. Double left click, and we're going to call this triple oscillator 808. Enter. We're going to call this, double left click, Watsyn 808. And enter. Triple oscillator is going to be loud, so I'm going to bring this down to a value of 50. Watsyn, let's take that down to a value of around 40 for right now. Okay. Come over to your gear icon for your triple oscillator. We'll assign this to a new FX channel. Come over here for your Watsyn. We'll assign this to a new FX channel. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is create a triple oscillator sound with our 808. Let's listen, see how loud we have here. I'm going to click on my Y key on my keyboard. I don't know if that's too loud or not, but we'll cross our fingers. Okay, so that sounds good. Now, you have oscillator 1, you have oscillator 2, and you have oscillator 3 in your triple oscillator. We're only going to be using 2 oscillators. So I'm going to go ahead and take the volume down on my third oscillator down here. Now we have options. We have a sine wave, triangle wave, saw wave, square wave, Moog wave, exponential, white noise. And if you double left click on the far right hand side on that plus icon, you can open up your waveforms. In addition, we can come to our parent directory and open up our shapes, double left click. And we have these options as well for waveforms, but we're not going to be using any of those right now. We're going to be using these 2 sine waves right here. The next thing that we're going to do is coarse detune. So over here, left click, drag down, take this down to 0, and take this down to 0. Now let's take a listen. All right. Now I'm going to create a little melody, and it's not even a melody. What it is a beat. Excuse me. So we can excuse me. So we can open up our come over here to our A4, which is our default. All right. Okay, so that's going to be our little beat. Can add one here. Take a listen. Okay, so that's going to be our little 808 beat right here, if you want to call it that. Now what I want to do is choose my selection tool. I want to select all of this, all of these notes, this notation, control arrow down. I want to take that down to our A3. Choose our draw tool here. Listen again. All right, so we have that 808 sound, that really deep, bassy 808 sound. Now what I want to do is come to my effects, add effects, and bass boost. So BASS, and then we'll select bass booster here and click OK. Take our frequency down to 80 and our ratio up to 3. Click out of that. Now we're going to come over here to our LFO envelope function, okay, filter. And right now we're going to stay in the volume. So we're going to raise our amount all the way, max it out. I'm going to take my decay all the way down, and I'm going to leave my hold, sustain, and release pretty much where they are for right now. Next, I'm going to come to filter, enable my filter, come down to SV low pass down here near the bottom. Double click on my frequency here, and I'm going to take that to 4,000. Click OK. Now let's listen. Okay, that's a little bit loud. Let me take the volume down a little bit. Very good. So I brought that volume down a little bit, and let me pull up my decay ever so slightly. So that's that 808 sound that you're going to hear, that bump, bump, bump. And the next thing that I want to do is come back to my effects, add an effect, and we're going to add reverb. Type reverb in the top, select calf reverb, and OK. I'm going to leave this at factory settings and listen. Very good. All right, so we can X out of this. Now what I want to do is control, left click, drag and drop into my Watsyn 808. So everything which we've done right here in terms of just the notation has been copied over. And now it's time to duplicate that using Watsyn. So I'm going to come over here to our plugin. Again, we have 1, 2, 3 oscillators, and we have these options here for certain types of waves, okay? And we've decreased the volume, and we've decreased the detuning on all of these, but we've decreased the volume on 1, so we're only using 2 oscillators right now, and that's what we're going to do over here. So you have 4 oscillators, A1, A2, and then you have B1 and B2, 4 separate oscillators. Now the A1 I consider like the alpha. The A2 is the beta of this particular, let's call it a team. And the B1 is the alpha, and the B2 is going to be like the beta of this team. So I'm going to assign like my A1, and then I'm going to tweak it with my A2 with a different, maybe waveform. And then my B1 is going to be my lead, and then the B2 is going to be the waveform that I want to mess with. And everybody's going to be different. So, I'm showing you how I roll. All right. So over here, we only have 2 oscillators, and here we're only going to use 2 oscillators. So the A1 we're going to keep at 100%. The A2 I'm going to take down to 0%. The B1 I'm going to keep at 100%, and the B2 I'm going to take down to 0%. Now the next thing we did is we took this coarse detuning down to a value of -24 semitones. So this over here, this is left detune, and this is right detune. So I'm going to come to my A1, double left click, take it to a value of -24. Then I'm going to go to my A1 right tuning, double left click, take it down to a value of -24. Then I'm going to come to my B1, okay, double left click on my left tuning, left detuning, take it to a value of -24. Then I'm going to come to my B1 right detuning, double left click, take it down to a value of -24. And then I'm going to hit OK. And let's mute triple oscillator with a click on this green button over here so that we're only going to hear the Watsyn when we play. Okay, so far we have our notation, we have our detuning, and what I want to do is I want to take this little white box over here, right? And I want to put it at C. I want to put it at the A7 over here, just below the C8. All right. That way, anything down here by the A4 is going to be very low. Now let's take a listen. All right, so that's a very low sound. Let me see what happens if I take it to the A6. I'm gonna leave it there at the A6 for right now. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come to FX, Add Effect, and Bass Boost. Select Bass Booster. Okay. Take our frequency down to 80. Take our ratio up to 3. And we can X out of that now. Let's take a listen. Very good. Starting to get a little bit close to that 808 sound I'm looking for. Next, I'm going to come over to my envelope. And this is going to be my volume envelope for right now. Let's take the volume or the amount all the way up. All right. I'm going to take my decay all the way down. I'm going to enable my filter, click on SV low pass, and I'm going to double left click and get my frequency at 4000 and click OK. Now let's take a listen. So that's that 808 sound we're looking for. All right, let me come here to my looping tool and put it here just ahead of this fifth measure over here. Now I'm going to add an effect and we're going to add reverb. I'm going to choose calf reverb and click OK. And I'm going to leave this at the factory settings. Take another listen. All right, so far so good, very good. Now, the next thing that I want to do is clone Watsyn 808. Let's clone this track, double left click. I'm going to rename it to Watsyn 808, okay? And we're going to assign it to a mixing channel, number 3, with a left click on the gear icon. All right, so what we've done over here with this Watsyn 808, let's go to plugins, is we've used 2 sine waves in order to create this 808. But I'm feeling a little bit froggy. I'm feeling like I want to create right now. So I'm going to come over to my B oscillator and I'm going to create my own wave. So I'm going to do something like this. And I'm going to assign this is going to be my secondary alpha right here. But you also have the option. Now again, you can come to this question mark, and that's going to open up your waveforms, and you can select it and open it. You can come over to your parent directory, open up your shapes. You have all these shapes to choose from, and you can open it up and select that, right? Now over here, I'm going to hit normalize, and that's going to normalize this waveform. Over here, I'm going to invert this waveform. Here, I'm going to smooth out that waveform and soften it. Here, I'm just going to go right back to my sine wave. Here, I'm going to go back to my, I guess this is a triangle wave. Here, I'm going to come to my saw wave, and here, I'm going to come to my square wave. So what I want to do, again, I'm going to come over to this wave. And make my own little wave here. I'm going to click normalize. And I'm going to click smooth. All right, so we smooth that out. So right now we're going to be working with this sine wave, and then we're going to be working with this customized wave that we've just drawn in here. All right, so I want to mute Watsyn 808, and we're just going to listen to 2 Watsyn 808. And that's really harsh to me. That's not what I want for an 808 sound. And we're going to crank it all the way over to the B side, right? So when you crank it over to the B side, I'm going to only be working essentially with this waveform. Now let's take a listen. And that's not what I want. So what I'm going to do is reset this to 0, take it to the reset. I'm going to hit play, and I'm slowly going to move my knob to the left and favor the A side until I get the sound I'm looking for. And that sounds good to me. That sounds like a nice little homemade 808 that we've got going on over here. All right. Check our effects. We have our calf reverb and our bass booster, so we're good there. Come back to my plugin. Now, I like this sound, so what I want to do is save it. So I'm going to come up here to this floppy disk icon, okay? And I'm going to single left click, and I'm going to call this Merry Christmas 808. All right, so that's my Merry Christmas 808. We already have a Christmas 808, but we're going to have a Merry Christmas this time. Save it. Now, the next time that you open up your presets and you open up your Watsyn, you're going to have a Merry Christmas 808. We don't have one here right now. We can close that out. But after you close out LMMS and come back to it, you're going to have that Merry Christmas 808 saved, and you can use that anytime that you so choose. All right. Now let's show how we can apply this particular beat or this particular sound into a beat. So I'm going to come to my samples. I'm going to come to my beats, and we're just going to be choosing, come to my drums, and it's going to be random. Bass drum acoustic, very loud. We're going to take that down to like 30%. And then we're going to come to here to our hi-hat, which is very loud. Watch your ears. And we're going to take this down to like 30% as well. All right. Now I'm going to take my 2 Watsyn 808, control, drag and drop in the first measure of both my bass drum and my hi-hat. I'm going to open up my bass drum, and I'm going to drop my bass drum on the first measure. First beat of every measure. Okay. Just do a minor tweaking here, nothing big. And next we're going to come to our hi-hat close. And we're just going to drop a couple of these in every third. Now I'm going to copy my bass drum, copy my hi-hat close, and I'm going to bring out my Watsyn 808, my Christmas, my tutorial 808, and keep my triple oscillator here. So you're going to hear the various levels. This is a triple oscillator 808. This is going to be the Watsyn 808, and this is going to be the Merry Christmas 808. Let's unmute, unmute, and bring our looper out to here and hit play. All right, so that's how to use Watsyn, and that's how to you can do the same steps with a triple oscillator. You just have a couple more options. You have one more oscillator, obviously, and you have the ability to draw in your own waveform as you see fit, and then you can tweak it as you see fit. So listen, I hope this makes your creation process a little bit easier. If you have any comments or any suggestions, please comment down below. If you're watching this off of Reddit, please comment down below with any constructive criticism, and I'll see you next time.